Hello, fellow commanders, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous Return from Beagle Point. It's been a few days. It's been a little while since I've done a recording, because we just got back from a very, very brief little vacation, but we'll go into that in just a few minutes. I want to go ahead and go through the standard spiel that I do for new viewers who are just joining us right now. We are currently on our way back to the bubble, having finished our initial trip out to Beagle Point. The purpose of the journey primarily was to increase our exobiology rank, as well as hopefully save up enough money to be able to purchase a fleet carrier and take that out into the black. As I said, we already made it out to Beagle Point, and we are trying to get back to the bubble. We're currently right here in this sector of the galaxy, and we're going to make our way back through the center of the galaxy over here to the bubble where all of our ships are, and hopefully by the time we get there we will have saved up enough money to be able to purchase that aforementioned fleet carrier. We do have a standard cycle of operations that we do. I was trying out a new format for a little bit, but I think I've decided that we're going to kind of more or less go back to the original way of doing things, just because the new format has absolutely destroyed my metrics. There were some comments about my last video, not very many, just like one or two, that were complaining about the fact that I was talking about money, and I totally understand your sentiment. Most of the time I don't really do that. Mostly me talking about that stuff was kind of explaining why I'm kind of shifting back to the more old format. Because I had said I wanted to try to do a different way of doing things, but yeah, it was really messing with my metrics, and I'm trying to grow my channel, not experiment too much. So I don't know how else to say that. So as you can see, we hop into the new system, we pop the discovery scanner, we do some fuel scooping, and then once we're done with our fuel scooping, we'll reduce throttle, hop into the full spectrum system scanner, check to see if there are any high value planets, ammonia worlds, water worlds, or Earth-like worlds. As you can see, we do have a water world here in this system. And then also, if we have 15-ish or less bodies in a system, we'll go ahead and do a full-on scan of every body in the system, unless they're more than 10,000 light seconds away. As you can see there in the bottom left, this is 406,000. And I would imagine that most of the things that we were looking at were probably over there. So let's see, that one's another 15. So it seems like everything in this system is pretty far away. Yeah, so I think we're going to go ahead and call it good for this system. Trying to travel, it would take me many minutes to try to do that. So we're going to go ahead and just move on. So, like I said, I think the title of this episode is going to be Rekindled Dreams, and then a last minute hurt, or whatever you want to call it. Rekindled Dreams and something about an injury. I'll figure something out between them. We just got back from a short little vacation for my wife because it was her birthday, and we went out to Catalina because it's where she really likes to be. She had been working her butt off to save up the money for that, because obviously I don't make any money right now, so she has to do it herself, which really sucks. Makes me feel bad, but I'm glad that she was able to make it happen, because it was a really good trip and we all really enjoyed it. But the reason I bring that up is that it rekindled the old, like, I get to these places where I kind of just give up on these things that I want, because all of the things that I want are these really expensive things, because it's just, it's just what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the things, and all of these things. These are all 39,000 light seconds away. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next system. Unfortunately, the interests that I have are all expensive interests. I'm not, and the thing that makes it frustrating is I'm not interested in them because they're expensive, or because people find it prestigious. Like, I don't really care about what other people do or what they want to do. I just thoroughly enjoy them. So my number one favorite thing is flying, because I really enjoy flying airplanes, and I really enjoy that freedom that you feel when you're up there in the air flying an airplane around. And then obviously right after that is the next most expensive hobby. It's sailing, because I just really enjoy sailing. But unfortunately, like I said, sailing is extremely expensive, and it's just not something you can just decide, oh, I'm going to go do this, unless you can find some alternate avenues to get into it, which I have over the years off and on. But it's just one of those things where, you either find those things available to you and you have the ways of getting into it, and then also you just have to kind of be in a stage in your life, in a situation in your life where you can afford to do those things. So for a while I haven't been. But anyways, the point of it is that one of I think my biggest dream has been inspired by watching, several YouTube channels of people who take their sailboats around the world and go visit places. And, I've always wanted to do that ever since I've always wanted to go sailing. I've always wanted, and, for a long time I wanted to live on a boat, but then that dream was kind of confirmed by YouTubers who got on there and started doing it themselves and recording it and, making channels out of it. Obviously, if I was able to figure out a way to get out onto the water and go sail around the world, obviously I would make a channel out of it just because, it's a potential source of income, even if it's just a little bit. And, it's cool to share your journey with people. It makes it a lot more fun, and it kind of leaves a record of what you did. So, like I've said it multiple times, and I know people in the last video were turned off by the fact that I was talking about money. Personally, I don't really care that much about money. I just want to get to the place in my life where I want to be. I don't really need tons and tons of money. I'm not trying to become a rich YouTuber or anything like that. To be perfectly honest with you, I would love to get to a point where I can just kind of be somewhere where I'm still mostly anonymous, but I make enough money off of this thing to have a decent lifestyle. That's all I really want. I'm a fairly private person, so I'm not trying to get to that level of craziness. But so the point of that is that I'm just trying to say, like, I would do a channel, but mostly just because that would be more fun. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make here is that the trip has rekindled my desire to, move onto a boat. We currently live in an RV. If you've been following the channel for any period of time, you're aware of that. And our goal has been to try to get ourselves set up to travel around the country. And obviously that's still our goal right now because we don't have a boat. If we ever got to a point where we had an opportunity to get into the right kind of boat, and somehow that boat fell into something that we could actually obtain, then the goal would change. But you have to kind of plan your life around the circumstances that you're in, not necessarily the circumstances that you want. So obviously, we have the RV, we have the truck, we have the ability to move around, and we just need the mobile income that will allow us to do that. But obviously, if we could figure out a way to get into out of the RV and into a boat, that would be like my dream situation, because that's just always what I've wanted to do. I love the water. Ooh, here we go. If you look up on the top right, you can see we have 2 biological signatures on the top right of the screen. We want at least 2 before we're going to go spend the time going to try to do a scan and land and do all of that stuff. So, oh, we got another one over there. Very nice. Okay, so we have a couple of planets that we can go ahead and go down to and do some biological sampling. Add to our newly growing list of bodies that we've scanned. So let's go ahead and get this locked with the Super Cruise Assist and get ourselves turned on to the guy here. Alright, what do we got? Right there, 820 light seconds. Yes. We'll do full speed. So, obviously, as much as my desire for going along that route rather than the RV route, as much as because my throttle, as much as my dream has been kind of rekindled from going through that experience and being around the water and doing all of that stuff, obviously you don't stop working on what you're working on now for some pie in the sky thing that isn't even really an option right now. It would be nice if this channel grew, and then maybe I started my travel channel and that grew to the point where I could switch over into a boat at some point. That would be an acceptable way to go. But obviously I have to plan that the RV is the way forward. The RV is just something I bought. I was trying to get into a boat for a long time before I bought my RV. The RV was more of like I want to say consolation prize. It was kind of I can't figure out because I live in a place where even if I had been able to buy an old crappy boat to want to fix it up, I live in the San Diego area, and there's just nowhere around here where you could live on your boat and fix it up you know, buy the kind of boat that I could afford, and then spend time fixing it up, because nobody wants an old crappy looking boat in their marina. So it was always a kind of it was always kind of a what's the word? I mean, catch-22, I guess. I can't afford the kind of boat that they want in their marina, and then, you know, so it prevented me from being able to, and I needed to live aboard to be able to afford the whole process, because I don't make the kind of money that I could just pay a boat. I could just pay to have this extra marina fee. So that was. Oh wait, hold on. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out the. Oops. So we have Fonticula. Okay. Let's get our Super Cruise Assist turned off. And then we can start making our way down to the surface. I think what we're looking for is, and I know that the detail of the surface here doesn't really come out on the YouTube videos. I've watched a couple of them, and I noticed that you guys don't see the flat areas until I'm basically right on top of them. So there's some flat areas at my 12 o'clock that I can try to get down to. At least, you know, relatively flat for what the scanner's telling me it is. But I think we can do like this and get down here to a relatively flat area where we should be able to find plenty of Fonticula to land and grab this stuff. Get our glide going. So, you know, it's just as much as the boating thing is the dream, there's a reason why they have the acronym bust out another 1,000 for boats, and it's because it is one of the most expensive pastimes or hobbies or whatever word you want to use that you can decide to try to do. Now, obviously, you can get creative and try to find ways around most of those expenses, especially if you can try to do things yourself. But, you know, realistically, there's a reason why most people don't get into boating. So, you know, obviously, this video is not intended to be a complaining kind of thing. It's more or less just kind of a backstory of, you know, why this Rekindled, oh man, I want to go sailing around the world thing exists. And it's because, you know, I've been wanting to do it for most of my adult life and just haven't really been able to find a way to make it happen. And now at this stage in my life, with all of the people I have in it, you know, I would really like to find a way to get like a really, really big sailboat and just take my entire family and my wife and her kids and her grandkid and my 2 kids, and just get everybody on the boat and just go, you know, experience the world together. I think that would be a super crazy, awesome way of, you know, not just making my dream come true, but provide everybody in my life with an experience that, you know, is completely different from the standard thing that most people do. I think that would be really cool. If I could find like a, like I said, I can't even afford like a 40 or 50 footer, but if I could figure out a way to get into a, you know, 100-foot plus boat, and we can have the extended family on there, I think that would be like a super amazing situation to try to get into. I've also over the years thought that it would be kind of cool if I could kind of combine my desire to go sailing around the world with maybe some charity work, and maybe establish some kind of a foundation where we're able to, where like the destinations that we're going to, because, you know, most people see sailing and you're going to all of these different places and they're like, and you're thinking about the luxury of being able to, you know, to do that kind of thing, but most people don't really think about the fact that even at these major resorts and all of that, the people who live around those communities, people who live around the you know, the ritzy areas where the rich people go, most of them are living in abject poverty, and if you could try to help them out, I think that would make the sailing journey a little bit less selfish. It would make it so that you could you know, you could enjoy the process of sailing around the world and enjoying nature and all of that, but then also you're doing some good while you're going, and it kind of, you know, it kind of makes it a less selfish endeavor. It makes it more, you know, make you feel better about it. I don't know. But it's just, like most things in my life, I can do the grunt work of it. I can do the sailing around the world part. I can do the, you know, getting there and doing the logistics of it part. But everything, as with most things in the world, it all kind of revolves around money, and I would need somebody who knows how to A, raise that kind of money, and B, convince you know, can help me figure out how to get into a boat in the first place. Obviously, especially if we're going to try to do the volunteer or the charity work thing, I definitely would like to get the bigger boat so I can take more people to help do the work while we're there. So that would be kind of cool too. But anyways, regardless of any of that, mostly just, you know, I'm always looking for a topic for these videos, especially since I've pretty much decided that the Elite Dangerous is going to go back to the original format, definitely. Mostly because when we get the fleet carrier, I would like to try to figure out some kind... I'm looking for the bacteria right now. I'm not sure if... Oh, there we go. Mostly when we get the fleet carrier, I would like to come up with some kind of weekly thing where we move the carrier. And if I'm only doing one video a week for my Elite Dangerous stuff, then that makes it pretty difficult to do anything else other than just move the carrier once a week. So if I'm still doing daily videos like this, where I'm just basically babbling at you guys while getting things done, then, you know, maybe one day we can do a little bit of exploring. I saw what I thought were bacteria. Okay, yeah, right over here. You know, we could explore, look around for different things to make money off of exploration. Maybe we'll find some tritium that we can do some and we can do some tritium mining, so have a little bit more variety in the content that we're doing, because obviously I'll have all of my ships with me. So I'll have we'll probably run around in the Imperial Courier, because I really like that ship, and it's very agile and small, and, you know, it moves around really well. And then, you know, if we find ourselves a nice vein of tritium that we can go mine, maybe we can spend an episode or two doing that, and you know, just kind of vary it up a little bit, because that would be kind of nice. Let's see, looking for more. So some of the textures before the upper layer texture loads in just makes it seem like there's bacteria there, but then there isn't. So I don't know. All right, so on to the second half of the video, the second topic. Now, unfortunately, the day we got back from our little trip, we were loading things back into the truck, because I store a lot of stuff in my truck, because it's just, you know, I don't use it very much, especially in the current situation that I'm in. And where's this? Where's the... I just saw one. Is that it there? I don't think so. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. We'll land here and see if maybe that's it. So, you know, before we left, I unloaded some stuff out of the back of my truck to put it inside the trailer, because we were going to be parking the truck for a couple of days, and I didn't want... I had a break-in in my truck in the past, leaving it parked in a public area, and so I'm a little paranoid. I lost like a $300 air compressor to thieves, because they decided they wanted it, and it was locked in the back of my truck, which has a big camper shell with like a lockable thing on it, but they pried it open and got into it, so I'm really paranoid about that stuff. So there was a bunch of stuff that was just stored in the back of my truck, and I wanted to reduce the temptation from people wanting to steal it by, you know, making it very clear that there was nothing valuable left in the back of it by the time we were done. Problem is that when I backed my truck back into our spot, I backed it up further than I normally do. I wasn't paying attention, and I was carrying a couple of very long cushions that was obstructing my view, and walked full speed into the fire pit that we have here on the site. A very old and rusty fire pit that just, you know, I wasn't paying attention. I was I don't want to say I was in a hurry. I wasn't really in a hurry. I was pretty chill. It's just I had something in front of my face, and I was in the kind of the habit of walking in a certain way to my truck, and normally there's not an obstruction there, so I just wasn't really thinking about it. And yeah, so I ended up walking full speed into the fire pit and fell on top of it, and I had a couple of scrapes and bruises in other places, but the big problem was I gashed the left side. I gashed my left side, the inside part of my left foot open. Pretty bad, actually. I think it probably needed stitches, but I haven't had medical insurance in a very long time, so especially after the trip that we just got back from, which we couldn't really afford in the first place, but you know, that is what it is. You know, just having to go to the emergency room and spend a lot more money on that just was not in the cards. So we did our best to kind of clean it up as best we could and get it closed up as best we could. Okay, this is the other one that has the biological sources. Let's grab that one. And you know, this morning it looks pretty good. It seems to be relatively closed up. It's not bleeding, it's not oozing, and it looks relatively scabbed over. I did inform the park supervisor that, you know, I want to give it another day to kind of heal up before I try to put a shoe on it or anything, but and you know, go walking around the park. But yeah, that's the drama side. That's the second half of the that's the second half of the puzzle, or the second half of the video. There's just the stupidity of not paying attention. You know, sometimes, and you know, I almost never get sick, and I almost never hurt myself because I'm you know, really careful most of the time about making sure I don't injure myself, primarily because, you know, I've gotten used to not having health insurance, and you learn to be more careful about things when you do that. But, you know, nobody's perfect, and eventually you're gonna do something stupid like that, and then you know, you got to learn to live with it. But my philosophy on that is, you know, I don't like going to the doctor anyway. If it's something I can fix myself, I generally prefer to do that. And frankly, if the dream is to eventually get to the point where we're living out on the ocean, there's no 911 out there, especially if you're out in the deep ocean where there's no Coast Guard or anything nearby. You gotta kind of figure it out yourself. So that's what we did. I didn't want to spend more money that we don't have going to the doctor, even just urgent care. If we could avoid even just going to urgent care, that's still a hefty expense, and I'd like to avoid it. So, you know, I believe, I can't confirm that I am still reasonably current on my tetanus shot. I think I had one 4 or 5 years ago as part of a physical examination, but I don't remember. I had to get a physical done for something. I don't remember what it was for, and I think they had me take a tetanus shot, but I don't know. The last one I had could have been while I was still serving in the Marine Corps. Who knows? But hopefully everything will be okay. I checked it out this morning, and it looks more or less fine. You know, obviously it still looks like a deep cut, but it looks like a filled-in deep cut. And we put a lot of hydrogen peroxide on it, and you know, we put some Neosporin on everything, and just tried to do the best we could to, you know, get it to where it was as disinfected as it possibly could be. And then I'm just going to try to stay off of it for the rest of today and into tomorrow. And then hopefully by then it will have firmed up enough that I can put my shoe on and go back to work. So, you know, got to get back to that. So yeah, that's more or less the topics of conversation for today. Like I said, for those of you who found the money talk distasteful, I understand where you're coming from. It isn't that, you know, my intent is to ignore that sentiment. I don't go into most of my videos with my focus on the money aspect of it. It's just, you know, when there are things going on, especially when I've laid out certain plans for my audience, and then I start doing those things, and then I decide to change course again because just the results that I'm seeing aren't what I want to see. I kind of need to explain that so they're not like, oh, you changed it again. What's going on here? So unfortunately, the person who brought that topic up was a first-time viewer, and that was the first video they saw. So obviously, you know, while I care about money, they haven't seen most of my other stuff, and you know, it gives a certain impression. Your first impression is very important. But I can't go through my videos worrying about first impressions all the time, and you know, I just talk about what I talk about. And some people are going to like it, and some people aren't, and that's okay. You can't please everybody, and I'm certainly not trying to. I want to please just enough people to become successful at what I do. And that's what I think that's kind of the hard part is I actually do want a very specific level of success. Because to make the kind of money that you need to make the kind of money to be like a top YouTuber, you have to be super famous, and I don't really want that part. I want I just want to make enough money to, you know, live a relatively comfortable life. That's all I want. I don't need any of that other stuff. You guys can, other people can have that. I don't need it. All right, let's get down onto this planet, and then we'll go ahead and scan the fonticula, and then depending on how hard the bacteria is to see, maybe we'll grab that chew. But other than that, we're definitely going to be ending the episode on this planet. Again, like I said, I know that you guys can't really make out too much of the detail, but we'll do the best that we can. Oh, you know what? I need to, especially since we're going back to basically going back to the old format, I need to set my recording to upscale again, because for whatever reason, when I was doing the video editing, even trying to, even using the original resolution, the resolution that I recorded at, it just would not put it at a resolution that would allow me to use the better codec. So I need to remember to have my OBS software upscale this stuff again, so I can get the VP9 or whatever it is codec, because that will give you guys a better visual experience, especially with the motion and all of that. I still play at 1080p, but I'm able to do some artificial upscaling to make the end result high enough resolution that it forces YouTube to give me the better codec. Oh, wow, okay. So maybe down here? It just kind of depends on... Okay, I see some fonticula over here. All right. All right, so yeah, sometimes you have to just kind of force it down. I'm not sure why that does that sometimes, but it'd be really nice if they did an update where the computer would not necessarily auto land you, but just make it so that it's much easier to find the landing, find a landing spot, to line up with the landing spot. You know, I don't necessarily need it to do the landing for me, but the hunting and pecking around for a landing spot is quite annoying. They should really have it set up so that the map kind of gives you hot spots, similar to the way that the biology or the planetary scan works. Like right now, the little mini map under my ship should really just have hot spots where I could put my ship down and land. That would be so much more convenient. All right, we'll actually go over here to this one, because I just want to make sure we get far enough away that we get enough genetic diversity, because it's annoying to go through the whole landing process and then find out, oh, you didn't go far enough. All right, there we go. So yeah, I think that would be a relatively... that should be a relatively easy update to do, because they already have it set up so that you can get the dot under your ship turns blue. So why not just, instead of doing that, why don't you just make them the entire, like every spot that would turn blue when you fly over it, just switch it to where it just turns blue anyway. That would be, well, I mean, I guess the conditions under which it turns blue is probably dependent upon your ship orientation, so maybe that's a little bit more difficult than it seems like at first, like most programming things are. But anyways, the point is that it would be nice if they could come out with a way that would allow us to, I mean, even then, you know, they could just make it to where, you know, maybe you can't land, but it still turns blue, so that you know that there isn't an orientation that you could turn that would allow you to land there. So yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and call it an episode. Hopefully you guys had lots of fun. Be sure to click that like button if you did, so that the YouTube algorithm will know and send the video out to as many people as possible. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so now, so that when the next video comes out, it will show up in your feed and you will be able to watch it as soon as it becomes available. Channel members do get early access to all of my content, so be sure to click that join button, check out the list of options available there, and decide if any of those are right for you. If you're not interested in a membership, you can always leave YouTube's version of a tip with that thanks button. Direct contributions such as these are greatly appreciated and a critical component to helping to turn this channel into a full-time gig, which is the dream. So again, thank you very much for your time. Hope you guys are enjoying the journey. Be sure to come back for the next one, and I'll see you then.